Welcome to SMG. It is a hot, humid Sunday morning. Warm weather's here in Ohio. So welcome to the shit show. I'd like to get into buying an old bike and compression. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've learned, and hopefully it'll help you out. And I'm learning myself. So you buy a bike. You want to get you want to buy a panhead. You want to buy a flathead. A lot of the bikes, unless you're paying a lot of money for them, they're not running. They're sitting in somebody's garage. You're buying from someone else that has a sickness that has 8, 10 of these bikes sitting around. They can't ride them all. Maybe the bike is titled, maybe the bike isn't titled, which is a whole different story. But maybe it hasn't run for 25 years, maybe it hasn't run for 10, maybe the person that owns it bought it from someone else and they didn't even know when it ran last. So how do you know when you're buying? What do you want to watch for other than basics of just, which we're not going to get into at all, at least this video. Am I buying a bike that has matching cases? Should the frame have a VIN number? Is the VIN number good, and all that other stuff. So you find this bike that you like finally, right? And you think it's a good price, and it hasn't run for a while. And compression and getting these things fired up are basically gas, compression, air, spark will make an engine run. Spark's not a big deal. Spark you can do in your own garage, and you can learn and watch a YouTube video, and it's not that expensive to correct a spark issue for the most part. A gas issue, maybe you have to rebuild a carburetor, not a big deal, not the end of the world. You're going to want to get into the carburetors and learn and tinker with them anyhow. Compression's the big one. If you don't have compression, if you have bad cylinders, if you have bad jugs, or you need new rings, it's not the end of the world. But if you're just starting to work on these yourself, it's maybe something you don't want to jump right into because you may not have the tools and stuff like that. Maybe you want to get something that you can tinker with a little bit and get on the road and run and ride before you start tearing deep into an engine. So compression, how do you know when you're going to look at a bike and you've got some cash in your back pocket and you're doing some negotiating and they don't know when the last time the bike's been fired up? How do you limit your risk so that it at least has compression? That's what I'm going to show in this video. So I'll grab the tools that we need to do that, and we'll flip this camera around, and I'll check the compression on the 61 Panhead. I've been riding it. I probably have 100 miles on it now. The starting sequence, I think I'm giving it too much gas. I'm flooding it, but it's getting better. I need to figure out, what she really likes, but I also think that I'm going to have to get used to, kicking it a few times until I do. But all good, man. All good stuff. So I'm going to flip this around. You guys can check it out. So I thought I would show you the tools you need to check compression. You need a spark plug, something to take a spark plug out. That's a 13/16 spark plug wrench or socket. Got a little rubber piece in there to where you don't break the porcelain, and helps you get the spark plug out. But you don't have to have that. You can use a regular socket if you want. Wrench, and then compression test. I think this is Pittsburgh. It's from Harbor Freight. I don't remember what they cost. I've had it for a while, but they're relatively inexpensive. And if you're going to invest in a bike, this is a good thing to check. That's what'll get you into the money if you have to tear it down right off of the bat. So it comes with a compression gauge. As you pump it up, it stays. This is the release that makes the needle go back. It has the tube that ties into the gauge. as you can see. I won't put it all together, but there you go. I guess I will. And then different adapters for different threads at your plugs or into your cylinders. So I'm gonna go over and we'll get in and we'll check the compression. That, and you need your, if it's a key start, obviously you can crank it over 4, 5, 6 times. But if it's a kick start, you're gonna have to use you need your leg too. So the first thing we're going to do is take our plug wires off with the spark plugs, and take out the plugs. And I'm going to look at the plugs. That'll be another video too. Looks like it's not doing too bad. It's not real rich, and it's not lean. I'd rather be a little rich than lean, but that looks good so far. Okay, that front plug is it's kind of nice. It's kind of almost a brownish color. Shows me that it's not running real rich. It's not too lean. So anyhow, that's good. So once we have those out, we're going to take our compression gauge and I'm going to go into the front cylinder first. This one's the one that's a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm threading this in. This has an O-ring on it, so you do not have to, crank it real tight or you'll mess your O-ring up. Just kind of seat it, you'll feel it seat, and then snug it up maybe a 1/4 of a turn or a 1/2 a turn. Now, one of the things I will, there we go. One thing I will mention is if you're going into someone's place and, typically they won't mind if you do this. I mean, it doesn't, it's not invasive. One of the things you can do, if it's set and it's dry and it's really, it's not ran for a long time, you can take a teaspoon, a little bit of Marvel mystery oil. It's in the red container, or a little bit of oil. It just easier to get it. It's a little bit less viscosity, so you can get it moved around on the top of the cylinder. Put a teaspoon of that oil down into your spark plug hole. Set your bike up, kind of move it around a little bit, put it in the front and the back, kick it over, many times as you feel comfortable kicking it over. The more you kick it over, the more that oil is going to get down into the cylinder. It's going to get down around the rings, and some of the times you won't get a good, you're supposed to do your compression readings when your engine's hot. Obviously, if you go and a bike hasn't run for 25 years or 20 years. I know that the 47 that I bought hadn't run for at least 20 years. I don't think this bike, I don't know exactly. We actually started this bike up when I picked it up. But prior to that, I don't know when the last time it was started. They had went through it, I think, a little bit and tried, to get it to run. But a lot of the times these bikes haven't run for years. So that Marvel mystery oil will help give you a better reading. So I guess what are you looking for, right? What are the readings that you like as a gee, I'm not going to invest in this because it's going to cost me money. Look it up on the internet. I mean, everyone has their opinions, and there's a lot of them on the internet. The Klemmer's manual states that 90 should be the minimum. that, you know, it's going to be a little hard to start. The lower it is, the harder starting it's going to be. So anything under 90, some people say under 80, make sure you're looking at the right engine, because some of them, you know, I think the pans in this era, you know, the 1200s, 71 cubic inch motors, they are, you know, between, you know, some have said, you know, 100. Klimmers is kind of a little lower than most people think. So 100 pounds to 125 pounds maybe is a good range, but look it up for your own engine. So once we're to that point, you put the gauge on. And I didn't even look to see, hopefully we'll just leave the gauge hang and I'll show you. Another thing you want to make sure you do, open up your choke all of the way. You want to get all of the air that you can. So your choke is going to be open all of the way, and your throttle is going to be opened all of the way. So open your throttle all the way, open your choke all the way, and then you can get in and you can start to kick the bike and see what the compression of this front head is. All right, so this bike has got the Detroit lean. I got a couple 2x4s that I put together to put underneath this stand. It gets me upright to where I can get a better kick on this machine than leaning over like that. So front cylinder's hooked up. I'm going to give it many kicks as I think I need, with the gas all the way open, choke all the way open. And I've got my gauge here, and I'm going to kind of see when it stops raising. So. Zeus. He likes this. Oops. All right, I'll pop that off. I might give it one more for good luck. We are at about 90, 100, almost 110. Close enough to say 110. So 110 on the front cylinder, which is better than the minimum of 90 per Klimmers. I think a minimum of 100 is probably a little better number to use. I'd love to get everybody's input on what their thoughts are on that. So I'm happy that it's above 100. So we're at 110 there. Now we're going to check the rear cylinder. It's all right, buddy. Now you get used to this, not bark at bikes. And if I remember right, last time I checked it, rear cylinder had a little bit more compression than the front cylinder. So I have that in. Again, choke's all the way open, plugs are out, gas is all the way open, and I'm gonna get a couple kicks on this one now. Tad bit over 120. So 110 versus 120. Moral of this story, I guess, is if I was looking at this bike, I would feel like, hey, it's got compression. It's a bike I can ride for a period of time before I have to get into the engine, hopefully, right? And difference in compression between the two heads was, maybe 11 pounds. And, so 10% of, the highest one, 10% is 120, is 12. So we wouldn't want it to be any more than 12. We're at about 11. So we're right there. We're not in a danger zone or anything. We just know whether hotter head or cooler head up front, maybe rings, hotter in the back. Don't know. But what I can tell you is I would purchase the bike if I wanted to have a vintage bike to play with. And that's one way that you can limit your risk, because that's the big dollar item. So if you've already subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, consider it. If you run into my fat bastard buddy Jones, tell him I said he needs to be humped up by a pool somewhere. He probably is. And yeah, if you know anybody else that likes vintage bikes, share our videos. I think we're almost pushing 600 people that have subscribed, and we're not looking to make any money from this, but it is a kick to see how many people you can get that you might be able to help out, and by all means, we're probably learning better, more than anybody. So thank you all for subscribing, and enjoy your weekend. Peace. If you ride them, wrench them, but only if you want.